Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Robin Wansley, and I'm the Vice Chair of the Policy and Government Oversight Committee. I'm going to call to order our regular meeting for today, Monday, October 16th, 2023. And now I'll also have the clerks call the roll.
Councilmember Vito,
Present.
Chavez,
Present.
Koski,
Present.
Johnson is absent. Allison is absent. Vice Chair Wansley,
Present.
we have 4 present.
Thank you. Let the record reflect that we have a quorum. Colleagues, we have about 12 items on our agenda today, but first we're going to start with item number 1, which is the Boards and Commission Ordinance, which has a public hearing considering the passage of the ordinance related to appointed boards and commission ordinance. Before we move forward with the public hearing, I would like to invite staff to share a presentation on the topic. And who do we have today sharing?
Good morning, Vice Chair Wansley and committee members. My name is Andrea Neff, and I'm here to give you a summary of the ordinance language that is before you today for consideration. The proposed ordinance here for public hearing today is an amendment to Title II of the Code of Ordinances, which would add a new chapter, Chapter 10. Ordinance sections 10.20 and 10.30 establish a classification system for our appointed boards and commissions that is based generally upon the enabling legislation, the purpose, and the level of authority given to each of those bodies. The classification system will include 5 tiers, which places ABCs into groups of bodies that have generally similar characteristics to each other. Having a classification system will allow the city in the future to create policies that are applicable to certain types of bodies. And that process actually begins with the ordinance before you, as certain provisions of the ordinance are applicable to specific tiers. Ordinance section 1040 addresses how ABCs will be created in the future. Specifically, it standardizes how we will create them by including required details to create a new board or commission, including that the purpose, the authority, the responsibilities, the organization, membership, and governance will be set out in the enabling legislation. The reason for specifying all of this in ordinance is that prior practices have been inconsistent, which has led to some confusion historically. Additionally, going forward, before a new ABC is created, there will be a report created regarding the need for the new body and the enterprise impact of the new body, including budget impacts. The ordinance further provides that there will be a regular review process for ABCs to verify that they continue to meet city needs and priorities, and that bodies that have not been active for 24 months or longer will be automatically sunsetted. This is intended to clean up our books and get rid of groups that might technically exist but haven't done anything for 10 years. Ordinance sections 1050 and 1060 address the open appointments process as well as terms and vacancies. 1050 clearly delineates the roles and responsibilities for the appointment process. And this is a clarification of our current open appointments process. The open appointments process that is familiar to the council is not going away. We have merely clarified the various roles and responsibilities, not a material change. Additionally, appointments will be made for consistent, defined terms, and terms will be staggered. Vacancies, when they occur, will be filled in the same manner that the original appointment was made. Ordinance sections 1070 and 1080 address roles and responsibilities of ABCs as well as orientation requirements. Specifically, boards and commissions only have the powers and duties that are given to them in their enabling legislation. Boards and commissions shall act through a vote of the ABC, not through their individual members. And finally, ABCs will report up to a designated committee of the council as well as to the mayor's office. In terms of orientation requirements, after the appointment is made, but prior to beginning service on the ABC, all ABC members must complete an orientation, which includes ethics requirements. This is a current requirement, but unfortunately doesn't always occur before members begin their work, and this will clarify that ethics training and other orientation must occur before members begin work. Additionally, members will sign an oath of office and a participant agreement. And if those requirements aren't fulfilled within 90 days, the seat will be open for a new appointment to be made. Ordinance Section 1080 identifies service restrictions, which are intended to open up as many seats as possible for as many members of the community as possible. Specifically, members may not serve concurrently on 2 or more ABCs. They may not serve more than 8 consecutive years on the same group. They may not serve concurrently on the same group with close relatives. Members who seek elective office must take a leave of absence from the ABC participation while they seek that elective office. And finally, no city elected officials or current city employees can serve as members of an ABC, except where the service in that particular seat is required by law. Ordinance Section 10.90 creates an executive secretary position and designates the city clerk to hold that position except when otherwise required by a different law. Specifically, the city clerk in the executive secretary position will be responsible for assisting with the open appointments process, maintaining the official membership rosters, ensuring that all required notices are given for meetings, overseeing record-keeping requirements, providing operational support for the ABC staff members, and coordinating and standardizing reporting to this body and to the mayor's office. Ordinance Section 10.100 identifies requirements for ABC meetings. For groups to which this section applies, the ABC shall follow standard bylaws and rules, which will be approved by the City Council and the Mayor. And to be clear, those bylaws and rules are not before you today for approval. Those would be brought before you as a next step after the ordinance is adopted. Additionally, ABCs will adopt an annual schedule of regular meetings, and special meetings can be called with 3 days' notice. All meetings will be open to the public. They will be conducted in government-owned or leased facilities, and those facilities must be ADA compliant to ensure that all members of the public can actually access the meeting. And then finally, ABCs will take official actions only in their meetings and only by a majority vote of the members present in the meeting. Finally, Section 10.110 establishes new ABC reporting requirements. And these are intended to provide more information and more transparency, both to the City Council and to the Mayor's office. Specifically, ABCs to which this section applies shall provide and make an annual work plan detailing what they plan to work on in the coming year. And they will make an annual report of work accomplished during the previous year. And those will both be coordinated and standardized by the city clerk to be provided to the City Council and the Mayor's office annually. That concludes my summary of the ordinance, but I will be happy to stand for questions.
Thank you so much to our staff for that presentation. I'm going to open the public hearing portion of our meeting today. Thank you, clerk, for giving me the sign-up list. We have about 4 people who have signed up so far, and if there's any members in the public that would still like to speak and haven't signed up, please go see our clerks over there to the right, or probably your left. And with that, I will first call up our first testifier, and I'm sorry if I mispronounce people's names. I believe it's Lucy Thompson. Thank you so much. Please feel free to take the floor, and we provide 2 minutes of testimony for every resident, so please feel free to start.
Great, thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I'm Lucy Thompson. My address is 3546 Holmes Avenue South, Ward 10. I am the chair of the Minneapolis Arts Commission, MAC, so I'm speaking here on behalf of MAC. Our secretary is here as well. Lana is the second person signed up to speak, so she will take 2 minutes as well to go over some comments. We did submit a resolution that was adopted by MAC on September 20th, so I hope that you have that in your record. We did adopt that resolution before the revised ordinance came out. So while most of those points are still relevant, there's a couple of things we just want to emphasize today, and Lana and I are kind of splitting up the points that we want to make. The main one that I would like to make on behalf of the commission is that we disagree with and actually oppose the classification of MAC as a Tier 3 body. We believe that we are a Tier 2 body right now, and I just want to speak to the requirements in the new ordinance that you have to meet if you are a Tier 2 body, and we feel that MAC already meets those. First of all, MAC has quote-unquote decision-making authority within a specific sphere of municipal policy, which is required by the new ordinance to be a Tier 2 body. We approve the location, design, and conservation and maintenance plans for public artworks. Those are decisions that stop with us, so we do have decision-making authority. We were created by, and we get our authority from ordinance, which is also required by the Tier 2 bodies, and that's Chapter 36. Creating the Arts Commission. And then thirdly, we do exercise our authority, again in quotes from the draft ordinance, within a defined and limited subject matter, and that is arts and culture. And that has been delegated to us by the mayor and city council. And I'll just take, I've got 8 seconds. Just one more thing that I want to mention quickly about being a Tier 2 body. As I understand it, we would then not be required to hold our meetings in government-owned or leased facilities. And while we typically do that, we really welcome the opportunity to meet in the offices or galleries of nonprofit arts organizations and community organizations. It really gets us out to the public. It helps us get in touch with the public, have the public attend our meetings. It helps us learn about what's going on in the arts community, and it also helps people understand what we're doing. So we would also like to be a Tier 2 body so that we can continue to meet out in the community as possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next individual we have is Lana Ellsworth. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name.
Thank
you. Feel free to start.
Okay, great, thanks. As we mentioned, I am Lana Aylesworth. I'm the secretary for MAC, the Minneapolis Arts Commission. My pleasure to be here with you today. I want to start with a note of thanks because I think there's a lot of reforms that we see in this reform ordinance that have taken into consideration a lot of the ABCs. So thanks to Lucy for just referencing some of the points for Tier 2 that we directly oppose. We want to stay a commission because we think that our ordinance supports that we can best service our community in that way. We share appreciation and support of upcoming, we uphold our duties as outlined in Chapter 36, and we also seek continued engagement with the city on accessibility options, both for members of the ABCs and for the public at large. So we hold the city to its commitment to seek input directly from ABCs in order to leverage the expertise and experience in any ordinance amendments that are to come. So we understand that change is coming, and we support a lot of the direction it's going in. We just want to have a continued seat at the table and to really be seen as, the citizen representatives that we are. I apologize, I did not state my address for the record. 5408 Ward 11, Hi, Councilmember Koski. So, thanks for that. We do have a continued relationship with both council and the mayor's office that we really respect and appreciate. That's what I want to emphasize today. So while we're asking for some changes and adjustments to our tier placement, it's, with good note that we've been doing the work since 1974 when we were put into ordinance. We meet every month. We adhere to almost all of the outlined presentation that came before us. So we really want to say that we have been doing that good work. We have been submitting work plans. We have been doing annual reports, and we wish to continue to do so as a Tier 2 body. I also want to thank our staff, which I think is phenomenal. We have the best support team out there through CPED, and we advocated for the creation of the Department for Art and Cultural Affairs, which we hope to continue to collaborate on. We think we can best do that as a commission. So thank you for your time.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And then I just want to extend an offer for anyone who just joined us. If you would like to testify, please sign up with the clerks, and they can get you signed up for testimony. With that, our third individual speaking today is Stacy Gurian Sherman.
Thank you, Vice Chair Wansley. I just want to first say I live at 3440 Longfellow in Ward 9. I'm also a member of the Community Commission on Police Oversight, and that is the perspective that I'm giving my remarks. I am not speaking for the CCPO, however. I want to say, first of all, thank you to the members of the council who worked on this. I think it's absolutely necessary, and thank you to the staff that have worked on this. I do hope that this committee will not pass on this particular ordinance. I do believe that changes are needed. I don't have enough time in 2 minutes to go through all of them, but I can tell you that I scrubbed the ordinance in the same way that Minneapolis for a Police Contract scrubs the police contract. I think there's a lot of good to say in here. The purpose is excellent. There are the uniformity. These are things that are really good, but there are some things that are very much lacking. The word committee is nowhere to be found in the present ordinance. If you look at section 10.70, roles and responsibilities, regular attendance, it says each body shall have, quote, only the functions, powers, duties, and responsibilities specifically delegated. With the CCPO, we had 5 months, staff had 5 months in the Office of Police Conduct Review in the Civil Rights Department to get our commission on board. There was urgency and priority for it, stated in an August 15th, 2002 email from President Jenkins to the City Council, and the hopes that our CCPO would be a model for going forward. We acted for about 4 months on the assumption that we were able to have committees. We passed votes that were by majority. In between the September and October meeting, apparently the city clerk told for the first time the chair of the committee, and this is also done with guidance by OPCR and civil rights, that we were not allowed to have committees. This is insane. If you look at our powers, it's everything from recommending the police chief's renewal to conduct and research. There's no way that we can possibly do the work without committees. So I am putting forth a recommendation that there be a presumption that any board or commission have a right to have a committee. If there's a particular reason for a particular board in any of the tiers not to have a committee, then that should be stated. But the presumption should be in favor of these kind of committees. We as citizens are volunteering our time. We have so much on our plate with CCPO because we are the first police accountability entity that has to do both the review panels, which takes several hours in prep, could take an hour or two in actual review, and then we have enumerated powers and mandates, including having to provide within 120 days review of any change in policy. There's no way we can do that without committees, and now we are told we can't have committees, which are subject to open meeting laws, but somehow we can have work groups that are not subject to open meeting laws. And fortunately, it doesn't pass the smell test for public engagement and public participation, and actually the goals and purposes that are set forth here. Thank you so much. I will be submitting written comments, and I do hope that the committee will put this over for a vote so that there is more time to get more public comment. Thank you.
Thank you. And also, I would just, for the public record, for members of the public watching this, if you weren't able to join us in person, you can submit a public comment that will be circulated with all council members as we review this ordinance and, potentially make changes. So with that, I have our last individual, Marcus Carr. Please feel free to come forward and share.
Thank you so much. So my name is Marcus Carr. I am resident of Ward 5. I'm also the co-chair of the Homegrown Minneapolis Food Council, an ABC. And I just wanted to come and sit in on this hearing, first of all, to say thank you for all the work council members are doing to support the work we're doing on the Food Council. It's very important that we start being intentional about how we serve our communities, and I am a North Sider. So while I struggle with a lot of, unhealthy foods options in my community, we're working very hard to create green spaces and actually give people access to healthy food options. That's why it's important that this Food Council exists. And I also wanted to say thank you, again, just for your flexibility and fluidity on these reforms, because my only concern about those reforms was just literally who can be on this council. The idea of not having city staff on this council really kind of leave us starting over sometimes, because we have to learn the processes of, the city, stuff like that. So it's very important. And this work really has a lot to do with most of the city workers on the council. The impact of it on their work and on the city is important. So I just want to say thank you for the fact that we're not going to be changing the name given to this council by the people, homegrown, and things like that. Is actually represents the identity of the people here. So I want to say thank you for all those things, and everything else on it, made sense to us. We just want to be sure that we are part of the decisions being made when it comes to the changes happening around this council. Thank you. And another thing is I'm a product of this Food Council. I am the director of Youth Farm, which is a 28-year-old organization throughout the, I'm the program director. And I wouldn't have found myself on this council if it wasn't for, food champions from my communities that have led me here to be this person representing them today. So thank you.
Thank you. So I believe that's all I have on my sign up. Has anyone else signed up, clerks? All right. With that, since there's no additional speakers, I now close the public hearing. Before we move forward with a vote on this item, are there any questions that my colleagues have? Okay. Oh. All right, I see Councilmember Koski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just was wondering if maybe someone from our city staff could answer just a couple questions about the MAC wanting to go from Tier 3 to Tier 2. Could you just help me understand a little bit more about that decision and what that would look like?
Either one of us can do that.
Madam Chair, to Councilmember Koski's question, the classification of the Arts Commission, I think, is probably a carryover. As you know, this work has been going on for more than a decade, and previous iterations of council have identified they think that that is a Tier 3, an advisory group that, yes, years and years ago was created by ordinance. We have been inconsistent in how we've created different bodies over the years, which is why it was put into the classification of Tier 3. If this council feels like it's a Tier 2, that's a political decision for the body to make. We've recommended where we think they would go. But if the council believes that the Arts Commission is a Tier 2 body, then we would retain it by ordinance and recreate it when that time comes. As you know, these particular amendments or proposals in the ordinance do a few things. It creates the classification structure, and then it really focuses on Tier 3 boards. So the Arts Commission is not within, in its current iteration, within the effect of those Tier 3 applications. It's a Tier 2 body by a commission the proposal had assumed it would be something the council may consider making a change to.
Is that all the questions you had, Councilmember Koski?
Yes, I don't know if you had more to add to that.
I would just add one thing. As currently described in the ordinances, MAC does fall into tier 2. That, of course, is completely within your discretion if you want to retain that description. But as it is currently set up in the ordinances, that's where it belongs in tier 3. But that could be changed.
So, sorry, maybe so I can just understand. So the way that it's written today, it's in tier, can you just read?
It is in tier 3 as it's written today. When we compare the enabling legislation for MAC today with the criteria for a tier 3 body, that is where it belongs. The enabling legislation, of course, is entirely up to the city council. What you want that to look like is completely up to your discretion in the future.
Thank you.
Are those all of the questions you had, Councilmember Koski? All right. I see Councilmember Chavez.
Thank you, Chair Koski. I want to say just thank you to our city staff for working on this ordinance. I do have a few questions. The first one is about city staff participation. Can you just walk us through that component first?
Through the chair, I'd say the participation of staff is not affected at all by the ordinance. What is affected is, are they a voting member of a body? If you agree to the premise that these seats are for community engagement and they are there for the community to engage, staff have lots of opportunities to influence and shape policy in their everyday work. It's also our expectation that if staff are told they're staffing a board, they're going to still go to those meetings and support that board. That doesn't mean they need to be a voting member in a seat on the board. So this provision would clarify that current employees are not voting members of boards and commissions. That's all.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that clarification. And then my other part, and this is something that I've actually brought up in the past, can you walk me through the government-owned and city facility requirement for our boards and commissions, and if there's any provision in the ordinance that allows people to bypass that if they're able to show that they meet the accessibility needs? Because I know there's concerns about making sure that the meeting spaces are accessible for people with disabilities, and is there any way to bypass that in this ordinance?
Through the chair, we feel that the ordinance expresses the fact that if the city feels it's important enough to create a body, a public body, to do public business, that those public meetings should be in public facilities. So I would say that we've broadened the language based on the feedback from city-owned or leased to public. That means any park facility, any library facility, any county facility, any city facility, any federal facility, as long as it's a government public facility, we assume therefore that that would qualify. So opens up the opportunity. Beyond the fact that there's a perceived favoritism to being in certain private spaces, one space over a different one, for example, I think there's also the risk of having public meetings and public purpose things in private facilities, and that if there is something that happens, what risk the city has a responsibility. If someone were to, say, fall down the stairs at a restaurant in attending a public meeting, they weren't there for the restaurant, they were there for our meeting. And so the ordinance does not provide an exception process. It does broaden the opportunity to put a public meeting in any public facility.
All right, thank you very much, City Clerk. I do know that I've received a lot of emails, and this isn't just directly to you, it's just directly to the public, a lot of emails about the specific ordinance. And for myself, there is a lot of folks I need to reach out just for the public to know, based on the amount of communication I think every single councilor has received from our boards and commissions. I'm going to be abstaining on this vote today, but we'll be reaching out to our city staff for another conversation about the ordinance. I still need to talk to a lot of boards and commissions that are represented in my ward and talk to a lot of my constituents who have some concerns, some that our staff has actually done a tremendous job in addressing, which is something I'm really proud to say. And I just want to make sure that I have more conversations. So I'll be abstaining on today's vote, and then we'll be reaching out for staff for another meeting before the vote on Thursday.
Awesome. Any other colleagues have questions? I did have a few. If staff could speak to one of the testifiers' concerns around how this relates to the CCPO and not having its ability to have commissions to, it seems like support in the substantial amount of labor that they have to take on with that particular work of handling volumes of misconduct cases. So just wanted to know if any staff could speak to that.
I'll take a stab at it. As I went to the CCPO and explained to them, as is true of the city council too, right? Power has to be granted to us to act. It's not assumed. You don't assume you have authority. You have to be given that authority. And it doesn't currently say that the CCPO has the power to create standing committees. It doesn't mean this council can't say, yes, we want you to have committees. All they'd have to do, as I explained to them at that time, was bring a proposal to the council, and the council would entertain that proposal and say, yes, let's amend the ordinance and or your bylaws to provide that you have committees. But the idea that we would enable all 57 of our boards and commissions to create any number of committees that generate lots of work for staff that may or may not be in alignment with the work plan that this council has approved creates the potential for a lot of outside work. And so the proposal has been and is embedded into the ordinance that the standard bylaws would say no committees. We've established this board to do this purpose, and we've appointed these people to do it. If you have an ongoing, continuing need for a committee, then put together a business case, come to the council, and the council, I'm sure, would consider the feedback from the groups you've all appointed and say, yeah, that sounds like a good reason for a standing committee in perpetuity. If you don't need a standing committee for all time, we have suggested there are the ability to have working groups of less than a quorum of the body that can generate proposals and come back to the full body in public and have those things discussed. So I do think there is, specific to the CCPO, an opportunity for them to ask this board and make a case that we need one committee, two committees, three committees. Here's what the committees are. Here's what the committees would do. This is the jurisdiction. This is how that committee work would relate to the CCPO, so that this body, which creates and delegates to the CCPO its authority and its responsibilities, has the ability to say, yes, we concur. We think that's a good structure. Go forth and do it. It also makes sure that the accountability ultimately comes back to this body, which creates all of our boards and commissions. So that, I think, is the answer as to can a board or commission that we create establish committees? Certainly. They need to come ask the body that creates them, that has the power to grant that.
Feel good or go? Yeah.
What he said.
Thank you for providing that clarification. And just so we're aware, both of you have mentioned that there is an opportunity of council to weigh in should this pass or proceed today. Can you just talk a little bit about what that legislative process would look like between now and Thursday?
Between now and Thursday, certainly we can answer questions or clarifications on the scope of the ordinance. I would also remind you that this is a first step. If this ordinance is adopted, its effective date isn't until July 31st of next year. That is deliberately done so that we have time to come back to this body and engage on creating the resolutions to reestablish each of the Tier 3 bodies. At that stage, we would want to be working with the boards and commissions and their staff and their departments, because that enabling legislation is what is essentially, as the charter is our constitution, that resolution is that board's constitution. So this is an overarching framework that says here's how the city is going to deal with boards and commissions generically across the board. Then each individual resolution becomes the enabling legislation that creates that body, and it says what the membership is, what the requirements are, how they're appointed, what their function, their scope, their powers and duties are and are not, and how they operate. So that really becomes the next important step in the process, is once the overarching framework is adopted, it's creating each of those boards in turn through a new resolution.
And just follow a question to that, since that was also raised. So would that be the point where amendment would be brought forward, for instance, the mention around elevating MAC to a different tier, or could that also be moved before Thursday?
I feel like that would come up when you do the individual ordinances and resolutions on boards. Again, this is a generic that would apply to all 57 boards and commissions and all 700 seats, not specific boards and commissions, which would have to come up with its enabling legislation each time.
Thank you for providing that clarification. Did you also want to add?
I would just add that MAC is a little bit unique in that it is a body that is created by ordinance but has currently advisory body duties. Most of our advisory bodies were created by resolution, so it is one of our outliers that makes our system difficult. If you want to make changes to MAC, that's a change to a completely separate ordinance that can be taken up in its own time. It doesn't require any changes to this draft before Thursday. It would be a change to that separate ordinance that creates MAC.
Thank you for providing that clarification. I also see Councilmember Vito had a question.
You asked my question, Chair,
Oh.
about MAC. Thank you.
Okay, great. With that, is there any additional questions? I will note I would like to be added as a co-author on this ordinance, and also open to meeting with many of the folks who provided comments to talk about what it looks like to bring some changes forward either before Thursday or at the next relevant point of drafting resolutions pertinent to the specific advisory committees. So that work is not ending today, and definitely this body is super excited to work with our constituents in hopefully making that reflective of many of the concerns or vision that you all mentioned today. But with that, I will move this item for approval. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. All those in abstention.
Abstain.
All right, the ayes have it, and this committee's recommendation will be moved forward to this week's council meeting for final action. Thank you to everyone who joined us for the public hearing portion. Look forward again to continue working with you all in the coming weeks and months. Next, we will go to our consent agenda, which has 11 items that I will now read for the public record. Number 2 is a passage of resolution transferring American Rescue Plan Act funds for outfitting of behavioral health crisis vans. Number 3 is a passage of resolution American Rescue Plan Act funds for programming related to syringe cleanup. Number 4 is a passage of resolution for a gift acceptance from the Bloomberg Philanthropies of travel expenses, including flights, hotel, and meals. Number 5 is passage of a resolution for a gift acceptance from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms of travel expenses. Number 6 is passage of resolution amending the general appropriation resolution related to property services preservation projects funds. Number 7 is authorizing a contract with Horseman Inc. for horse boarding services. Number 8 is authorizing contracts with various service providers for community violence intervention services. Number 9 is authorizing contracts for the operation and maintenance of PV Plaza. Number 10 is authorizing contract amendment with Research Foundation of the City University of New York for strategic advising with group violence intervention. Number 11 is authorizing contract amendment with Variant Americas, Inc. for the 311 Lagan system. And number 12 is approving a legal settlement, LaShawn Harris versus City of Minneapolis. With that, does any of my colleagues have any questions about the consent agenda? I just will note I am going to pull item number 7 for a separate vote, which is authorizing contract with Horseman Inc. for horse boarding services. But outside of that, we can take a vote on the rest of the agenda. So with that, all of those in favor with all items on the consent agenda except item number 7, please say aye. Aye. Are those with nays? All right, those items move forward to full council. Item number 7, I pulled this because I want to have some more information about this particular item and how this fit with actions taken prior around the mounted patrol. From my understanding I thought that division had been eliminated, so I do have some more questions on this, so I will not be supporting today, and instead would like to postpone this item until the next POGO cycle, so that we can have staff give a presentation on this. But with that, I'm open, well, please, let's take a vote, and then we can move forward. Oh, sorry. See you, Councilmember Vita.
Thank you, Chair Wansley. I just had a quick question about this one. I think we delayed this the last cycle to this. Is this the same item? Does the clerks know?
I can speak. So this was delayed because staff had made an error in the RCA. So this was in correction on their end, and then it was brought forward for this cycle.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, clerks. With that, I move forward with a vote. All those in favor, sorry, let's do a roll call, actually.
What are we voting?
Roll call to delay.
For, yes, for item number 7.
Postpone one cycle.
Yes, thank you, but I see Councilmember Koski.
Thank you, Chair Wansley. I was just asking for clarification on the exact vote. So I just want to be clear, you're wanting to just get some more additional information, and I don't see anybody here to speak on this. If this is hindering any, hindering anything with the service that we have right now to talk about. So just wanted to make sure I understood what the vote was for. So thank you.
No problem. With that, clerks, if you could take a roll call.
Councilmember Vita.
No.
Chavez.
Aye. Yeah, aye.
Koski.
Nay.
And Vice Chair Wansley.
Aye.
We have 2 ayes and 2 nays.
All right, that motion fails. With that, we will take a vote on the original item to move this forward to council. With that, please take a roll.
Councilmember Vita.
Aye.
Chavez.
No.
Koski.
Aye.
Vice Chair Wansley.
Nay.
We have 2 ayes and 2 nays.
So that motion also fails. With that, what I will do is move this forward without recommendation, but we'll make sure to have staff know that we will be expecting a presentation on this item at our next upcoming POGO cycle. So with that, we can take a vote on, well, no, I can just do that. No, I gotta take a vote, right? All right. Yeah, let's take a voice vote on this. So motion to move with our recommendation to full council. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those not in favor say nay.
No.
Nay, sorry. Nay. All right, so that motion also fails. I would love to this is new. Clerks, is there any insights? I see Casey coming down. On what options are in front of us in light of those 3 motions not prevailing. All right.
Sure. Madam Vice Chair, since the committee has taken no action on this item, so if the committee takes no action, it will remain on the agenda until the committee dispenses with it or until council removes this item from committee consideration. So, the body could consider referring it back to staff for more work, but that may have the same results. The body could just adjourn, and the item will remain on the agenda, and it'll appear again next time.
All right, well, I can just make the motion to adjourn the meeting then? Cool, all right, well, with that, make the motion to adjourn the meeting. All right, thank you all.